Welcome, welcome, welcome,
Gang, gang,
welcome.
hold the door.
For the watch. For the
Yeah,
watch.
we gotta watch. So,
Yep, yep.
today
Today,
we're doing a goaded classic.
goaded. See, we were just discussing this term, and I knew you're trying to get a reaction out of me. I could already tell when you do this. See, it's not gonna
I
work.
see what you did. I see what you did.
Yeah.
You did the same thing I did.
Yes.
Kinda. How to train your dragon. How to train your dragon.
Yes. How to train? Yes, the people can clearly see what that is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's Smog.
He's somewhere. Well, actually, by this time, well, that's a different universe.
Different debate. But anyways, how to train your dragon.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people were nervous about this for a couple reasons.
Mm-hmm.
For a couple reasons. Mostly because Disney's stuff was not working. We just had Lilo and Stitch.
Made a lot of money, but as far as the critics and the viewers, very split.
Yeah.
We'll say.
Just gotta keep it. We'll talk about it. But so what is how to train your dragon about besides training a dragon?
Well, it's about a young man, a young boy man, named Hiccup, and he's on this island with the rest of the people that are amongst his group, and yeah, their village or whatever you want to call it is kind of overrun by dragons in the sense like dragons are kind of like their pests that they take their livestock, their resources, and it can be very harmful and dangerous to them and the way they're
They're
living.
America?
No, but I see what you're trying to do. So um, yes, our main character just happens to be the son of the the chief, and he's trying to prove himself, and people around him clearly see like, oh, he's not cut out
Yeah, he
for
just
this life.
messes things up. Yeah, he just messes things up and makes it worse.
Yep,
Um,
they kind of just want him to be off in the corner and
don't do
don't
nothing.
yeah,
Yeah,
don't do nothing to
don't.
mess things up.
Yeah. So all in all, there's a lot of dragons,
Yes.
pretty much. But the one that they're like
No one's
we've
ever
never
seen.
seen, we can never catch it, and it's called a Night Fury.
Yes.
And then somehow, some way, by accident, he accidentally catches one.
Yes. Well, it's actually not by accident because remember he designed whatever that thing was that the net thing that he builds to shoot at it. Oh, is that an accident?
I thought it was.
I don't think it was an accident. I
He
think
didn't like I don't. Yeah, he didn't know he was gonna catch it.
he didn't know he was going to catch it, but he was trying to catch it because you remember he was saying
And the
he was
fact that
telling
he
people
did
like
it in the first try, I don't know. I feel like it was a little bit
I think it was mainly it might have been luck,
plot.
but you say plot, but he was trying to catch one because he literally says in the opening like, "Oh, I'm going to catch a night fury." So he's trying to catch one, but I don't know if he actually. The thing is, he doesn't actually believe he can, which is the interesting part. It's kind of like he's doing it to prove himself, even though he's not really the type to like hunt and kill, but he's more interested as far as like the science and the you know creation and all
You
these
get a little
things.
ahead of yourself. So basically, he catches one, and it falls down, and he's trying to impress his dad, of course. Um, so he wants to kill it just for him, and he realizes he either can't kill it or doesn't want to kill it, and that's basically the movie.
Yeah.
Um, they just realize maybe there's more to the dragons than they um, uh, think.
Yeah.
So basically, who plays the? Bring up the cast.
You got Gerard Butler.
As Stoic, who
Stoic
did the
Vance.
voice in the animation.
Yes, the
We just need the main three.
the main three. Oh yeah, we got um sorry, different movie. You've got Mason Thames who plays Hiccup,
And Astrid.
and we got Nico Parker who plays Astrid.
Okay.
She's the daughter of Dandway Newton. I can never pronounce her name correctly.
I don't know who that is. But
You've probably seen her. She's been in a lot of stuff.
maybe. But anywho, all in all, I think Mason did great. Playing Hiccup, he definitely gives off the definitely I don't like very. He's definitely doesn't look like somebody who you would want to go to war with.
Yeah.
And then so Astrid is basically this girl he has a crush on, and she basically wants to be a chief. Um, and a lot of people were mad because she was mixed. But it's explained in the movie that she comes from elsewhere, and if you see in the movie, there's a lot of other races in this movie, even though in the animation they're all basically white. But um, I think the director was saying like um, it's not our Earth, so it's not
Yeah, it's a
supposed to be
fantasy
historically accurate to our Earth as
Yeah.
Vikings. So there's kind of a lot of hand waving, but I felt like it's getting into you know I think she just did a good job. And yeah, um, so what did you think?
I thought I would agree. I thought she did a great job. I haven't seen it. Well, I've seen. I guess I saw a little bit of the hate towards her casting. I thought I saw that more earlier on when they first announced it. But I think once it got closer to its release, I didn't see as much of that. Not saying there hasn't been, but I just haven't seen it.
Well,
So,
I think she did great.
yeah, she did. The guy who played Hiccup, I thought he did great as
Yeah.
well.
He did good. I think they both have good chemistry.
Yeah. Um, and Gerard Butler did well as Stoic again. It's pretty cool, like seeing people who played a particular character like years ago.
I just don't think
reprise it.
there's anybody else that could have played him.
Yeah,
I mean, they probably could have been,
could, but it would be.
but not as good.
Yeah,
I think he just gets it right.
yeah,
Um,
It was cool that he's been able to do it in the voice acting and the live action. I think that's really cool.
Toothless, the Night Fury.
Yeah,
I feel like he looked great, and there was first concept art to where they wanted them to look realistic, and I saw that, and it didn't look great. It definitely gave me, PTSD from Sonic.
Ugly Sonic.
Yeah, ugly
Vibes.
Sonic. But I'm glad they did. I think they did a little bit more to show off his emotions, because Toothless is because he can't talk. He expresses himself through facial expressions.
Yeah, a lot of the mouth and teeth and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and him being, don't get triggered, black. You can't tell a lot of his emotions. So Yeah, I think it was. He still looked cute. I want a freaking toothless, just like I want a Stitch.
Yeah.
He was adorable. He's just as adorable as he is in the animation. If you have not seen the animation, please go see the animation. But anything you didn't like?
Um.
It basically was straight for shot for shot. It's basically kind of the same movie. I think the only difference is they might have stretched out some scenes
Yes.
to where you can get more of an impact. You know,
Yeah. Um. There was
more backstory and stuff like that. Because you get a little bit more about Astrid and where she comes from and what her
Yeah.
motivations are.
Yeah. I'm
You
trying
get
to remember
you get a
that.
little more about Hiccup's stuff, and I don't want to go too far into it because you didn't see the second one.
Right.
Um,
Um.
but there's
Yeah.
three animations.
There's three animated movies, and I think they've already announced they're doing the second movie again. So it will be interesting to see if they literally just recreate the trilogy in the live action
And
form.
we were just talking about how they, if this was successful, they would want to do other ones.
Yeah.
Definitely Prince of Egypt. But everything else that is animated, I don't think they should do. Shrek, Despicable Me. Yeah, I just don't think they should do anything else.
Except you said Prince of Egypt though.
No, Prince of Egypt is one of the
Oh
ones
yeah.
that they're doing.
Yeah, I know.
But just anything else. Prince of Egypt, they can do that.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that's doable considering, it is based off of the Bible.
but everything else, I just think it's only good in animation form.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. I'm thinking, but I agree. Like with DreamWorks, a lot of their animated movies are like characters that really could only exist in animation. And honestly, I'll probably think that same way about some Disney stuff that got remade, but that's neither here nor there. But back to
Or anime.
yeah, that's a good point too. Um,
Or video games.
yeah. So with that with How to Train Your Dragon, this live action version, I would say with it being like pretty much shot for shot, I would say, and with me actually seeing the first movie
And I
for the
think
first time in its
the
entirety,
director of the animation was the director.
same
Of this.
director,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the same director. So I would say with it being shot for shot, and me having seen the original fairly recently, like for the first time, crazy, right? Um, I've seen it in parts, but I never actually just sat and watched the whole thing all the way through the original one. So seeing that for the first time and then seeing this one, I'm like, yeah, it really is like almost shot for shot. And like you said, they did extend certain scenes, and some parts were, I guess, they were able to go in a little bit deeper, which I did
A lot of
appreciate.
the dragons look exactly the same.
Yeah, but certain moments, certain things were pretty much the same. But I would say maybe a potential criticism is that like I think when it is shot for shot so similar, it's almost like that can take away from the I guess the experience of like not knowing exactly what's gonna happen next. Like it can be for some people it's like you're looking forward to this particular moment, but and it's like
I
I
would
just saw
I would
that.
say this. Like for people our age, a lot of us have kids. So they're probably taking their kids who probably have not seen the animated version. You gotta think about that too. They probably haven't watched the animated version. Some of these littler kids have probably not watched the animated version before this came out. So they have no idea what is coming. So whether it's shot for shot or whether it's not, like you gotta think about it. Like This stuff is not for the parents. This stuff is for the kids.
I would say normally I
And
would
the
agree.
parents are just, you know, are the main ones that are just gonna critique it though.
I would say normally I would agree, but well, two things with How to Train, like for How to Train Your Dragon specifically, um, it's not that old. Like the first movie came out in 2010. That was 15 years ago. So it's not like, oh, this was a movie that came out 25, 30 plus years ago. Like I and that was my thing when they announced that they were redoing it, which I felt like they could have waited some more years because it's like the third movie just came out in 2019. And it's like, oh wow, you're already basically redoing it.
They could have.
So it's like that's my big thing.
But I think my point is you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't complain that the Disney movies are changing too much stuff, but then complaining when another studio or even Disney or DreamWorks or whatever keeps it the same. Which one do you want? You gotta pick a lane and stay.
Well, I was gonna finish my point. I actually so I feel like I'm in a minority position in this because well my other point so the point I was gonna make was I actually prefer when they do make changes because then it actually gives me
Disney fan.
It gives me a reason to. This isn't me being. It's not me putting Disney or DreamWorks against each other. It's just more so. I I like going into something and actually being surprised, like, oh, y'all did that differently, or you recontextualize something from what I saw before, and it's like if you make a change that actually makes sense if you're trying to modernize something, which this is different. Like How to Train Your Dragon is like they wanted to just make the live action version make exactly the same, and that's you know that's fine if that's what they want to do. But I'm just saying as my personal preference, not other people. I'm just speaking for me. Like I like when people make changes because then it's like, oh, I feel like I'm actually watching something different, and I get that there are kids that haven't seen it before, that may be going to see this for the first time. But I also say like I would say for little kids, I think likely, and I mean, there's no way to know this for sure, but I feel like they've probably seen the animated version for this one because I feel like that's probably more appropriate for them just because of the. I mean, it's not the most adult movie, but there still is some violence, and I feel like if they can't see the animated version or if that's too much for them, then I feel like this would also be too much because it would look more realistic.
So here's the thing, and I get it. You are the minority. I feel like, and we talked about this. Like my thing is, you're getting beloved things that are, to use the word, classic. Nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
These Lilo and Stitch, Lion King, these things that the animated version is so beloved, right, by a lot of people that when you take it and then you change things, you're most of the time you're changing things that are beneficial to what the whole movie was basically about, that people fell in love with in the first place. And that's where I draw the line. I don't mind you making changes. I don't really care about being surprised or anything like that when it's something like How to Train Your Dragon or something like this.
Yeah.
I'm not going there to be surprised. I just want to see something good.
Mm-hmm.
But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So don't change the things that made it, the reason why I love this film in the first place. And sometimes when they change certain things, it's just kind of like, and then I guess the point is, I mean, if you want one or the other, just watch the animation.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Lilo and Stitch. and Lion King, and I stand by it. Um, Even this, I feel like the animation is still a whole, but I think it's better
Yeah.
in my opinion. But
Hmm.
yeah, like I said, I don't come in here to be surprised, or I'm not expecting to be surprised. I just want to see the same thing done, and if it's done differently, done better.
Okay.
So don't change too much of it, or if you want to change something, just make an original story. You can change all you want. You can make it however you want it, but don't take something that is already perfect already and change certain things around. It's not even the same movie no more when you get down to it. So
Yeah.
that's all I say.
Yeah. That's a fair point. It's hard to
Please everybody.
well, it's hard to please everybody, but it's also hard to make original stories. Like it's hard to get the funding to make original stories. I'll say.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of times people do end up
But that's why
recreating.
when something original does come show, you got to show out with
Yeah.
your wallet.
Yeah.
Um,
That's true. We gotta support.
you know,
Um,
yeah,
so whether something's animated or live action, even like when they do a lot of re-releases too. Go support those if you.
oh, man,
Yeah.
reminds me of the time where I think what Revenge of the Sith came out, and we
Yeah.
wanted to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was only out. They only had it in theaters for like a week, maybe less.
yeah,
They could have kept it in there longer.
yeah.
Made some good money. Anyways,
But
what is
that's neither here nor there.
yeah.
But other, all in all, I think, what would you rate it? I think a 4 for me.
Yeah, I would say between a 3.5 and a 4. I would say probably 4.
I think 4.
Yeah.
4. Um, yeah. If I mean, and a lot of people think that like cartoons are for kids, but a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of cartoons that are very adult themed.
Hmm.
Think of the Incredibles. That's a lot of kids like that, but there's a lot of adult things in there
Yeah.
that people don't realize. But anywho, that's neither here nor there. Let us know what you thought about How to Train Your Dragon. And go watch the other ones, the other animated ones. Go
Yeah.
watch the first one, the second one, and the third one. I think there's a series as well,
Yeah.
and a whole bunch of other stuff. Go check it out.
Yeah.
And let us know what you think. Um, and what other animation? It doesn't have to be DreamWorks or Disney, but what animation you want to see done in live action?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's all we got for today.
That's all we got.
Please like, share, and subscribe. We haven't been saying that, but
We haven't, but y'all should do it anyway.
yes, please support us.
Support the
Follow
channel.
us on TikTok,
Yes, we're on TikTok now.
um, IG, all that stuff, all that
Yes.
social media, Threads. He's on Threads.
Yeah, I'm on Threads. I be talking about stuff sometimes.
But yeah, follow us, and we'll see you in the next one. All right.
All right. See y'all at the movies.
God bless.
Peace.